Okay.
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 Yeah. Yeah. So appropriately, uh, in context, I'm sick right now. Both us, both of us. First time in quite a while, first of all, which is also gratitude for that. It's actually been quite a while. Um, and uh, I was like, oh yeah, this is sickness. This is that existential unavoidable that we can try to put it off and do our best, but it will visit us from time to time, you know. And it's just part of what we have not transcended, part of what we don't ever completely transcend. It's this sickness business. Um, and One of the things I observe, of course, is a cold, co what they call a common cold. It doesn't feel very common, it's kind of a common cold, but could be worse, right? That's the first thing. And one of the things that we notice, though, for most of us when we're sick, is that there's a real heaviness of the energy, both physically and mentally. The mind gets dragged down into it, and there becomes that place of that posture of the hindrance, really, of sloth and torpor, heaviness. Oh, that heaviness, that tiredness. And with it can come negative thinking. It's kind of draggy, heavy energy, heavy thought. And it can be difficult uh, to meditate in the usual way. I'm speaking for myself, because part of what gets the mind is cloudier. It's just not as clear. It's foggier and it's heavier, right? It's harder to be present in the usual way. For me, one of the things that can be helpful in that context is something that is more directive, a more directed kind of meditation, and in particular, it seems really appropriate to to bring in the Brahmaviharas with when sick, to bring in the Brahmaviharas, which is what? It's more reflective, it's more contemplative. It gives the mind something to do, to think about a little bit, to reflect on a little bit, and to turn the mind in that direction a little bit, to counteract some of just the heaviness, grogginess, crankiness, right? All of that heaviness. It's very straightforward in some ways that we would might bring forward the Brahma Viharas in other contexts, But for example, if we just go through them, the first would just be metta, loving kindness. And that sense, first of all, that, oh yeah, right, this is common humanity. I'm not the only person who's ever been sick. We've all been sick. I know people who've been sick. It happens. It happens to all of us from time to time. And hey, buddy, uh, it's okay, Energy's a little bit low right now. Energy's a little bit draggy. That's okay. You're still a good person. You're just sick. It helps to move out of some of the negative, slightly catastrophic, slightly draggy thinking. Oh, how long is this going to be around? I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe I forgot to put a mask on. I must not have washed my hands. Why was I careless? Rather than the self-blame. I used to do this, the self-blame. Just like, hey, this is part of life. This is part of life. And just softening around the reality of that, softening a bit and allowing for a little bit more rest. I don't know how it was for you, but for the longest time, I never would rest, even when I would be sick. Just muscle through it. Get up, caffeinate myself, and keep working. Yeah, that's the way. As opposed to, how about taking a little bit more rest? a cup of tea, a little bit of kindness. How about putting in a few drops of kindness toward myself? Eh, It's so obvious, but if I don't remember to do that, it may not happen, right? So a little loving kindness, loving kindness, loving kindness, compassion, compassion. It hurts. It's suffering. Sickness is suffering. It's dukkha. There's a lot of dukkha in there. Oh, hey, buddy. And also compassion for people who are so much sicker than me, right? This is a cold. And it's also getting a perspective on it. This is a cold. And it has its arc. It's even somewhat predictable. If I don't start catastrophizing, oh, what if it gets deeper? What if it becomes this? What if it becomes that? Well, oh, it's just being present with it. It's a cold. It has every indication that it's a cold, you know, but compassion for the fact that it's not more than a cold. Yeah, compassion for that. And the awareness that people get sicker, and there's likelihood that there will be a day when I will get sicker than this. But that's not today. You know, this is a cold, and let's have compassion for that and compassion for all the levels of sickness that are not present, and for all the people who are struggling with more, with more illness and with more ongoing illness. Yeah, yeah. So much of that going on in the world. So plenty of room for compassion there toward myself when I'm sick, and certainly toward others who experience this and worse and worse. Yeah, yeah. It gives the mind something else to do that's a little bit more positive, that's a little bit more, it puts a different frame. It's creating a little bit more of a frame. Yeah, constructive frame. And of course, mudita. Mudita. Mudita for people who aren't sick. Or mudita for people who I know who've been sick or coming out of being sick or no longer sick. It's fantastic. It's so wonderful. Mudita. Mudita for the miracle of the body being resilient enough to start to become well. You know, I mean, I get the sense, we've all had these colds, right? I have the sense that yesterday was probably my peak day, the worst kind of day. I already feel like over the night and this morning, it's shifting a little bit. That's a miracle. As far as I'm concerned, just another miracle. I'm not doing that. I'm not the one getting well. I have no control over it, really. Sure, I can drink a little bit more tea or have a little bit more vitamin C or whatever, echinacea or whatever, but give me a break. It's a miracle that this body is able to get well. It's amazing. It's amazing, this immune system, isn't it? Mudita. I think it's a miracle that we're not sick a heck of a lot more with all the viruses and germs floating around in the universe, in the world. How is the body managing to get well? I have no idea. And I have so much gratitude and mudita for that. And for all beings whose organisms are well enough to. I still remember, I still remember a friend, or we have a good friend who died several years ago who was really, really sick. And I remember one day, I'll never forget, he said, I just wish I could, I wish I could have one day that was where I was just feeling normal, just normal. We take normal for granted. there's so much going on. There's so many causes and conditions that create just this sense that we are of normal, feeling just okay. Yeah. Yeah. So mudita for normal. Yeah. When it starts to come back online, mudita for normal. And of course, equanimity, just trying to stay somewhat level, somewhat balanced, and trying to keep some rudder in the water. And this too, yeah, just being present with it. It's not comfortable. Um, it's not life-threatening. And some equanimity, just riding it through. Just some equanimity, riding it through, riding it through. In any case, I have found that somewhat helpful during this episode of sickness. And it's something rather than just sinking, rather than just sinking into some negative patter, you know, and some groggy, drowsy patter. Um, the Brahmaviharas, good time to bring those to the fore. And the last one for me, it's not a fifth Brahmavihara, but always, well, I guess I just spoke to it. But when I do start to come back online, the gratitude for that, just amazing. It's just amazing. Yeah, yeah. So one more angle on sickness for your consideration when you feel one of those things coming on, or when you have to experience that which we all experience at one time or another. It's so common in humanity. We've never known someone who never got sick, have we? Yeah. So thank you for your attention, and let's meditate together. Okay? Yeah, let's do that. Okay, good, good. So opening up a little bit. Yeah. Oh, sorry. And when you're ready, slowing it, beginning to slow it down, and lightly closing the eyes. And noticing that the breath is moving, the breath is flowing, and the breath of life is moving in us and through us. And appreciating that, and orienting toward settling a bit more, quieting a bit more. coming in for a landing a bit more. Settling here with the Sangha, so many others here today, showing up, orienting in this way together, all of us together. With whatever level of wellness and health is there now. We're here. And inviting that quality of caring, attention to the breath and to whatever else may be arising and moving through the landscape right now in your experience. and making room for whatever is arising and moving through, as if each thing had a right to be there, had a right to announce itself in the field of experience, making room, welcoming. And the last few minutes of the meditation, softening. And a few more easy breaths. And when you're ready, when it feels right, slowly opening the eyes.
Thank you all for joining us.
We're in another place today and we don't have a bell.